The funeral for my wife was scheduled at 11 in the morning. I stood ready at our front entrance, tie perfectly aligned, shoes gleaming, clutching her picture intended for the ceremony, when my cell phone vibrated. A text arrived from an unfamiliar sender. Skip your wife's service. Head over to your brother's place instead. He's got company. I read those lines repeatedly, frozen in place. My name is Thomas Grant, 44, structural engineer based in Denver, Colorado. It had been 9 days since Laura vanished from my life. A rainy Tuesday night crash on the elevated highway. The call came at 9:47 p.m., slicing existence into two distinct eras, prior and subsequent. 9 days filled with planning, sympathetic words, and dishes of food dropped off by kind neighbors unsure how else to assist. For those 9 days, my brother Daniel arrived each sunrise uninvited. He brewed coffee, fielded incoming calls, and simply remained nearby during the moments when words failed me entirely. Daniel, my younger sibling, the individual I relied on above anyone else once Laura was no longer here. I replied quickly, "Who sent this?" Nothing came back. I lingered in the doorway a solid 60 seconds. My vehicle idled outside. Miles away lay the graveyard, a minister, and roughly 50 individuals who cherished my wife, all prepared to bid farewell. Meanwhile, in another part of town sat my brother's residence. Logic insisted I dismiss the note. A heartless joke. Sorrow attracts predators. Refuse to permit some faceless troll to rob you of this final chance to honor your wife. Yet a subtler instinct refused to release me toward the driveway. An instinct that sensed, without clear reasoning, that the warning carried unusual precision. It felt deliberate. I slipped Laura's photo into my inner jacket pocket. Then I steered toward Daniel's home. He resided just 12 minutes away. The path was automatic after countless drives. Family meals on Sundays. Game days watching football. The evening his little girl arrived, when I raced through every red light to reach the hospital. Well-known roads. Recognizable area. The pale blue residence at the bend, featuring the hoop he mounted years back, but barely touched. Pulling up, the scene appeared utterly ordinary. His vehicle parked in the drive. Blinds lowered as usual during daylight hours. No unfamiliar cars in sight. No sign of trouble. I nearly reversed course. Nearly persuaded myself the text matched every sensible conclusion. A vicious trick aimed at a widower enduring the bleakest day imaginable. Then my gaze caught Laura's sedan. Positioned along the parallel side road next to Daniel's property, partially concealed by a neighbor's large vehicle. The white Accord I had ferried to the shop repeatedly over 6 years, bearing that persistent fracture in the left rear light we kept postponing. The identical vehicle that plunged from the bridge 9 days earlier. The very car now stored in the police compound on the far side of town. I'd only received the release documents the day before. I eased to a stop, remained motionless, gazed at the Accord for half a minute, verifying I hadn't descended into delusion, confirming sorrow hadn't shattered my perception, item by item. White Accord, damaged taillight, Laura's college decal affixed to the back glass, matching precisely, in every detail. Trembling, I retrieved my house key, approached Daniel's entrance. The lock accepted it smoothly. I paused on the threshold, 3 long seconds, palm on the handle. Laura's image pressed to my chest, attire immaculate for a parting not yet delivered. Then I turned the knob and stepped in. The interior held stillness, not vacant, but inhabited stillness. The precise hush of individuals who freeze upon detecting an intrusion. I entered. Front room, ordinary. Kitchen area, pair of mugs resting on the surface. Both recently used. Both warm. A lady's jacket slung across a chair back. Not Daniel's former spouse's, since she relocated to Seattle 3 years prior, and I recognized her entire wardrobe. This jacket I knew intimately. I purchased it. Holiday gift, 2 winters ago. Deep emerald wool, distinctive metal fasteners, tiny mend near the left sleeve from a door-edge snag. Laura's jacket. My deceased spouse's outerwear draped across my brother's kitchen seat. I stayed silent. Didn't advance. Merely remained there, fingers touching the material, still heated from recent wear, until my breath steadied enough to continue. It required time. Sounds from above. Single set of steps. Cautious. Whoever heard the entrance now weighing options. Then Daniel's tone descended from the upper landing. Soft. Restrained. Striving for normalcy and falling short. Tom, why are you? Shouldn't you be at the... He emerged at the stairhead. Slightly behind, shadowed, clad in garments I'd last noticed stacked in our closet. Laura gazed downward, breathing. In moments of sheer unreality, the mind behaves oddly. No outcry, no breakdown. It simply halts, comparable to software encountering an invalid instruction. I remained below, eyes locked on my spouse, my supposedly departed spouse, and registered zero sensation for roughly 4 heartbeats. Then the flood arrived all at once. Tom, Daniel advanced, palm lifted, tone deliberately calm. Please, allow an explanation first. Laura. My tone emerged utterly level. She recoiled, truly recoiled, as though hearing her name from my lips caught her unprepared. She appeared altered, locks cropped, shade deeper, attire unfamiliar, the distinct look of a person midway through reinvention. How? That single syllable was all I mustered. How? Daniel spoke on. Sentences emerged structured and deliberate, yet none registered while I observed Laura, my wife, descending 3 risers before halting, maintaining separation, measuring space, the manner one gauges proximity to an uncertain element. She feared me. My lost wife feared me. The crash, I eventually forced out. Never happened, Daniel murmured. The space seemed to sway. We arranged it, Laura stated. Her initial utterance, pitch tinier than any I'd known. Tom, forgive me. I realize those words carry no weight now, however. You arranged your own passing. She dipped her head. And the memorial today. My voice dropped to a perilous hush. 50 mourners assemble at your service this moment. Your mother attends your service this moment. An expression flickered across her features. Not precisely remorse. Something deeper, somehow harsher. I understand, she breathed. My knees buckled, not theatrically. They simply chose independently, depositing me in Daniel's kitchen seat, Laura's jacket still radiating warmth under my palms. Eyes fixed on those twin mugs while my spouse and sibling lingered in the threshold, awaiting my next action. Begin, I commanded. The complete account. Daniel settled opposite. Laura remained upright, close to the exit, I observed. Still assessing. 40 minutes passed. The condensed account, digestible amid that morning kitchen, was straightforward. Laura had diverted funds from her design company. Minor sums at first, gradually escalating. Masking client deficits, rerouting payments. The sort of fiscal sleight of hand that begins temporarily, yet solidifies permanently before realization dawns. 18 months. Roughly $340,000 altogether. The company uncovered it 21 days prior to the supposed crash. Discreet forensic review. Meticulous. Her associates presented 2 paths, prosecution or immediate repayment in full. She possessed neither funds nor time frame. Thus she crafted an alternative. Vanish. Daniel was aware, I stated. Not inquiring. Learned 2 weeks back, he replied. She approached me. I had no idea how to respond. I promise you assisted in fabricating her demise. Quiet. You remained by my side 9 full days. I continued deliberately. Prepared beverages. Managed my calls. Witnessed my disintegration. I regarded my brother. This man I trusted unconditionally across 44 years. All the while she existed here. Daniel stared downward. Sufficient confirmation. I rose. Grasped my device. Moved to the rear window overlooking his yard. The plot we tended as boys. The apple tree from childhood climbs. The barrier I assisted constructing the summer our dad departed. Known elements. Elements trusted like the ground beneath one's feet. Laura spoke initially. Tom, please grasp that I lacked alternatives. Prosecution loomed. My profession, our shared life, the residence, everything would collapse. Enough. I kept my back turned. You're preparing to justify why simulating death made sense. Understand clearly, no justification holds. Quiet. The policy, I mentioned. Fresh silence. Denser. More weighted. Laura and I secured mutual life coverage for years earlier. Routine. $800,000 per policy. I'd scarcely considered it post-signing. One of those mature choices filed and forgotten. I pivoted gradually. You intended for me to claim $800,000. The statement landed flatly. That formed the scheme. I received the payout. You vanish using the concealed portion. And Daniel, I shifted to my sibling. What portion fell to you? Tom, it wasn't what? Portion. Daniel. He shut his lids. She planned transfers once resettled. Assist with the mortgage. His tone shrank. I recognized the impression. It resembles fraud involving insurance, I observed. Layered atop the rest. I regarded Laura once more. This unfamiliar figure bearing my wife's features. Then I lifted my phone and dialed the contact I ought to have used upon entry. Detective Morrison picked up swiftly. Send officers to my brother's location, I stated. I've located my wife. Laura bolted. Not instantly. A suspended instant followed my declaration. No motion, no inhalation. The trio frozen in that kitchen like an unwanted snapshot. Then raw instinct surged in her gaze, survival eclipsing all, propelling her toward the rear exit rapidly. Daniel intercepted. Unexpected. He shifted, obstructed the path, gripped her shoulders firmly. Laura resisted, genuinely fought, writhing intensely, yet Daniel maintained hold, face reflecting a choice deferred 9 days too long. No more, he uttered softly. No more, Laura. She ceased resistance. Sagged marginally, as if internal support collapsed. Detective Morrison reached us in 11 minutes, accompanied by 2 cruisers. From Daniel's front room pane, I observed their approach, measured, expert, carrying the demeanor of officers familiar with every shade of human crisis, yet never shocked anew. Morrison, around 55, keen gaze. He'd overseen Laura's supposed mishap. Contacted me thrice during the probe with progress reports, sympathies, the measured phrasing reserved for final verdicts. He entered, studied Laura extendedly. Been searching, Mr. Grant. Tone deliberately even. Apologies are due. We concluded the crash inquiry 4 days past. I know, I answered. The automobile off the bridge was tampered, remotely activated. She will disclose all. I glanced at Laura. Correct? She occupied Daniel's kitchen seat presently, jacket nearby, mug untouched, appearing diminished beyond anything witnessed in our 14-year union. She inclined her head once, then commenced explaining. The service proceeded absent us. 50 attendees converged at Riverside Cemetery at 11 to farewell a lady concurrently seated in a Denver station detailing her full admission. Laura's mother phoned 4 occasions amid the formalities. I directed each to message. Not malice, but certain discussions merit more than a precinct lot. Certain discussions require seating and extended duration. Laura admitted all. The company theft. The orchestrated collision. She'd engaged an expert via unknown channels. Individual who modified the Accord's controls remotely, synchronizing the bridge strike to simplify scrutiny. The coverage deception scheme. She surrendered every element. Names, records, specifics, with the weary precision of one relieved to relinquish an immense burden. Daniel entered a guilty plea for complicity. Obtained 18 months supervised release, service hours, and lasting alteration to our bond that remains incompletely navigated even now, 2 years on. Contact stays minimal. Perhaps eventually. Laura drew 6 years imprisonment. The company reclaimed $280,000 of the $340 via forfeiture. Her technician, the individual who altered the vehicle, earned 11 years, trading 3 further cases for leniency. Evidently, fabricated demises constitute a more entrenched trade than sensible people prefer acknowledging. I returned to the burial ground the evening following her detention. Positioned myself near the lingering setup, collapsible seating, floral displays, a leaflet bearing Laura's likeness discovered ground level by the gate. I remained extendedly, not mourning precisely. Mourning something, though not the intended loss. Mourning the individual I cherished. The one possibly authentic at some point, prior to finances, prior to dread, prior to scheming dominated entirely. That individual merited the ceremony. The figure I encountered atop Daniel's stairs, she had interred herself well before that text arrived.